Hello?
Hello, this is John.
Hello, this is Martha.
Hi, Martha. Thanks for joining.
Let's check with her about the quorum, John. Check with her about it.
Yes. Martha?
Yes.
For purposes of a quorum, I know Deanie and Russ had to be out of town.
And Tammy's not here.
And Tammy's not here. And Jeff is not here. So, but the question is, for people who call in, are they
yes.
meeting participants who would count for a quorum?
Yes.
Okay.
They will count for a quorum. And I just got an email from Jeff this morning that he will not be there.
Okay.
So what happens, Martha, if we don't have a quorum?
If you don't have a quorum, you can't vote on anything.
Okay.
So basically, I would authorize, if Deborah comes, is she there?
I'm here.
Yeah,
she can
Deborah's
be
here,
yeah.
And Carol
Good.
is here.
Okay.
We're
So
only three, Martha.
yeah, that's not enough. I know Russ emailed me yesterday to say that to ask for the dial-in number, and that he could attend by phone early. So I sent him that number.
Okay.
And hopefully he will be able to dial in,
A quorum
which I think would...
A quorum is 4, yes?
Yes.
Right. Well, if you could email Russ, that would be great.
Yep.
Say, please dial in.
Yes, I will definitely.
I know Deanie's in a very different time zone, so.
Right. Let's see.
So we'll wait a few minutes, folks. Sorry.
John, text Tammy, see if she's coming.
Tammy's not coming.
Okay.
So, John, without a quorum, we can still have the meeting. We just can't vote.
Yeah, we can talk through things.
Great.
Right.
Martha, you're still there?
Yep, still here.
We do have one thing we need to act on right away. At least one thing. Is it possible to do an email vote? It's a matter that has been discussed before, so people are familiar with it.
You cannot do a vote by email, but what you could do is if there are things on this agenda that need to be done, within the next week or so, you could call a special meeting for those specific things.
Okay. We may have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to get out my calendar. Yeah. What time is it now?
9:10.
All right, why don't we start? As you've gathered, we're not yet official. If we become official, that's fine. For matters that require quick approval, we may have to call a special meeting and proceed that way. I'm John Noyce. I'm one of the two co-chairs. Carolyn Wakeman's here. Deb Fencing is here. And on the phone is Martha Hanson, who is our superb secretary, who knows all things about quorums and all of that. So we can discuss the minutes from last meeting. We can't approve them. Did anyone note any changes on them? Oh, let me see. Yeah. That comes first. The only thing I noted was we don't have an indication of who moved and seconded. Oh, no, we wouldn't do that until we have an official meeting. So, any comments on the content of the? I'm sorry. These are the February meetings.
Yeah.
Yes, February meetings do not note who made the motion to approve the January minutes. So, Martha, do you have that?
I do. On my copy of the February minutes, I have that Carolyn Wakeman made a motion, seconded by Russ Todd.
Okay.
To approve the minutes as presented. I'll make sure that this copy is the one that's posted on the website.
Okay. I was operating from Deanie's copy, so we'll have that for the next meeting when we approve the January meeting minutes. I mean the February minutes and
So should we approve the February meeting minutes with the change that you?
We can't.
Oh.
We can't vote.
Oh, that's right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. Next meeting will be approving the February minutes, and I don't know that we'll have official. Do we have minutes of an unofficial meeting, Martha?
Yes, I will be writing up a record of everything that happens in this meeting. So.
Okay.
Hi, Martha.
Yes.
Oh.
It's Russ.
Oh, hi, Russ. Great.
Oh, hi. Good.
Oh, so we're official.
Good.
Is that
Great.
right, Martha?
Yes. Wonderful.
Four of us here, and Deb is authorized to act as a full member. We're a few minutes late getting started, Russ. If there is a motion to approve the February minutes, I will entertain that.
So moved.
A second.
Okay.
Martha, would you please text, I just got a note from Deanie, would you please text to Deanie the phone number and instructions for dial-in?
Oh, good.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Thanks. Okay, good.
And so the second item is on the agenda is a public open forum. Comments about specific properties and issues, we'll wait till those come up, but if anyone has general comments, hearing none, we'll proceed to the Secretary's report.
Right now I'm texting Deanie, so it'll just be a second.
Russ, where are you?
I'm in Florida, John.
Okay.
Well, actually today I'm in Alabama, but we've been down in Florida for a bit. So.
Okay.
Okay, the Secretary's report. The C of A's that are still going on, 38 Lime Street, the renovations are continuing. 97 Lime Street, the barn has been built, but it's not finished. And there's still an outstanding C of A on a shed, which hasn't been started yet. The Ferry Road Sidewalk project has not been started. 56 Lime Street, the sign has been installed. It still needs by appointment only added, and they need to have more landscaping around the new building. 21.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back to questions.
Okay. 21 Lime Street, the porch enclosure has not been started. 47 Lime Street, the garage renovations have been started. The new propane tank has been installed, and they're still they'll be here this morning to talk about the fence enclosure. And 1 Boston Post Road, the new driveway, etc. There's no update on the Plaque program. The annual memberships to the following organizations have been renewed: Florence Griswold Museum, Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation, National Trust, and the Old Lyme Historical Society.
Okay, just a couple questions. Do you recall, Martha, the last time you contacted the owners of 56 Lime Street?
It would have been for the last meeting. They were going to get in touch with the CEO about the sign by appointment only and about whether they could have an open sign in the window. So I need to follow up with that.
Well, didn't.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can have an open sign in their window.
No, I think we approved the sign on the post.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Well, do you think it's a good idea for Martha to follow up?
Yes,
and
definitely.
Remind them of that? I think that would be great, Martha, if you could just follow up with them and remind them that it needs to be on the post. Okay.
John, one question. This is Russ. Martha, did you mention is 1 Lime Street coming before us today or not? The gentleman that, yeah.
Right. No, they're not. He's still working on his landscape plan.
I see.
Because he needs to screen that HVAC unit, and also he wants a more extensive landscaping than he's got, which will screen off some of the gravel that he put around the foundation.
Okay. Any other comments on the Secretary's report? The next item is Dave Spears, replacement windows.
Morning.
Hi.
Come on up to the.
Pardon?
Do you want to come up to the table?
Just so the folks on the phone can hear.
So, the building was, I wanted to put do replacement windows and for the Spears Plumbing building here next door at 48-1 Lime Street. And the property is actually owned by a trust in my father's name, and my mother is the trustee of that trust, and I'm acting as her representative, which is noted on the application permit and so forth.
Yes.
But I think it's fairly straightforward. We just want to, it's old single-hung 6/6 wooden sash that are in the building now, which are original. And frankly, they haven't been getting the maintenance they should, and they're really in very tough shape. And they're single pane glass and all the rest of it. So there won't be any. I applied for a like-for-like permit, or we applied for a like-for-like permit. But Martha said I needed to get a C of A because the material, the new windows will be PVC, vinyl, and existing windows are wood. But the appearance will be exactly the same. They'll still be 6/6 pane windows, and they'll be white and the same color. The moldings will be the same color. And I don't know if there are any other questions or not. Certainly open for any questions.
What make of windows are you planning?
The new ones will be Harvey.
I don't know that.
I brought a catalog with me, and I made a copy of a couple pictures, but they're not great, but I can give you the pictures of the file or whatever.
That would be helpful. This is back off the street?
Yeah.
Is that right down the driveway?
Yeah.
So it's not right on the street.
Right. Actually, Harvey was purchased by Lansing. I don't know exactly when, but at some point. So, of course, these are 8/8 here, but it'll look just exactly like that, only it'll have another, there'll be another six pane window down here. I mean, it'll look like those, except 6/6.
And these are double hung?
Single hung.
Single hung.
It says double hung there, but they didn't have a single hung brochure or a picture of it anyway. Well, I do have somewhere. And then it has a grid. This is a grid style, so it'll have this colonial grid style. So I mean, that's exactly what it'll look like.
Right. And is the width of the, what are they called, mullions, the same as on your current structure?
Yeah. Well, it's very close anyway. I mean, these are replacement windows where you take the sash out and slip in there's no outside molding or white molding that goes around or anything like that. It just fits in the existing frame. And then the 1x4, pine will be showing on the outside.
Can you all on the phone hear?
Yeah.
Yes, I can, John. Yes.
Is Deanie with us now?
Did Deanie call in?
She acknowledged the code and the information that I sent her, so.
Okay, good.
So the outside trim stays the same?
Yes.
So you're not entirely relieved of painting?
No, we're not. We're not.
So for the mullions will be, say, similar. I guess the concern is that they're not real wide, that would change the appearance of the building.
The dividers between the panes, John. So he's wondering if these mullions are the same width as the existing, but I'm sure they'll be similar.
I'm pretty sure
Does that go up?
I'm pretty sure I didn't understand the question on the mullion. I guess it's the jam that's on the side, but no, the mullions are going to, I believe they're 3/4 of an inch. I think
it's standard is either, I believe, 5/8 or 3/4. So
yeah.
That sounds.
I'm quite sure they're 3/4. I'd have to dig through this book. I have to dig through this book a little bit to find it.
So green trim will remain the same, right?
Yeah, here it says the grid's coming 5/8 size.
Oh,
So you have
5/8.
the 5/8 molding.
I actually think that's better. Either way, I was just trying to, I don't know the brand, and so I was trying to avoid something that has really wide molding.
To be good.
Okay. Any other questions about this?
Will all the windows be replaced, or is this just on the front side?
No, it's all of them.
Okay.
That's a big job.
Yeah.
Has to be done, but it's a big job. Okay.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion?
I move we approve the CFA as stated with 6/6 vinyl mullions 5/8 inch and trim matching the original.
I'll second.
I second.
Deb beat you to it.
Oh, okay. It's the line delay.
Florida's a ways away. Okay. So the conditions are the Harvey Lansing windows.
I can get that, John, so you can, I don't mind writing it down.
Okay. 6/6, single hung.
Right.
Outside trim stays the same, 5/8 inch mullions.
Right.
Great. And you can leave these with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
You're set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
I assume Martha sends a copy of the CFA to the building inspector?
Martha, did you hear that?
He'd like a copy sent to his contractor and to the building inspector. Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Next item is the Pgn Library New Sign.
How are you?
Good for you.
Good, thank you. So we are looking to replace our existing sign. We submitted the paperwork, so interested in hearing your feedback, questions.
We have got so many
I didn't
things
see the
here.
paperwork.
We didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So there's the application, the picture. I'm sorry, I just this all to Martha.
So is the sign itself remaining the same?
So the plan is the sign board will be replacing. The hardware will stay the same. We're replacing the post. The lighting will stay the same. So it's really just the post and the sign board itself.
And since we haven't seen it, would you describe what's the material for the post?
So the post as...
Is this a new logo? Is that why the change?
It is,
Okay.
yes, yeah. The post is... What's being proposed by the contractor is an aluminum post, a 6x6, 16 feet tall, with a baked enamel finish.
Is that the same height that it is currently?
It is, yes.
And the finish is, again, Katie, please?
So the quote says white, the board would like to do black, but it's a baked enamel finish.
And so, which are you proposing, black or white? Black.
Your current post is white. Yes.
Correct. Right. Yes. So it's in part, we did the witness stone sign back in the spring of last year, and the idea is to match that.
So the only thing that's changed is the color of the post, not the height, and the logo.
Correct.
What's the current composition of the post?
I believe it's wooden and rotting.
And the metal, that's staying the same?
That's staying. They're
Okay.
going to clean it and repaint it, the existing
What
black.
is the lighting now? Is it uplighting?
There are two little spots on coming off the top of you can't see it. This is the existing.
Okay.
They're up here. They're small. They're 5 inches maybe.
And the location will be the same, everything, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are the spotlights shielded and kind of focused on the sign such that there's minimum light bleed beyond?
I'm not sure about a shield, but they are definitely, they're above the sign, pointing down at the sign, and they're very small. They're not, the bulb itself is maybe 2 inches wide.
Right. Okay.
Is that illuminated all night?
They're not, so they're set to go off around 10:30.
Okay.
We turn off, they're connected with the full lot lights, and we keep them on long enough for the cleaning crew after we close. And also we have the meetings in the building, sometimes until 10.
So this is your application. What do you know when this was submitted? There's no date on it.
Last week, the week before.
Okay.
And I'm happy to come back if you need
May
more
I keep these
Certainly.
copies?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you. I didn't receive any, so. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, I haven't seen this either, John. I don't think. Martha, did you forward the submission in particular?
Let me see. I have have something that has a picture of the old sign on it, which I can. Yeah, I have a photo of the existing sign. I don't have a photo of the new design of the sign.
Did that not come through, Martha? Because I sent them all together. There were two. There was a proposal, the application, and the picture of the old or the original sign. I'm happy to resend it. It's not difficult.
Well, since we didn't receive it in advance, and since Deanie and Russ are not here, and Jeff, perhaps we would want to wait and let everyone look at the sign and discuss it one more time at the April meeting, and then vote at that time, if that's okay.
My other question is, do you have a sample of the material that would be used for the post?
The post, I can get one. I don't have one.
It's probably just an aluminum painted, either white or black.
Okay.
And the sign itself, you said, was?
Is the sign wood, Katie, or is the sign, what's the material of the?
The proposal is that it is a sea-groove routed and painted 1.5 inch thick high density urethane.
What
Urethane? Oh, that's the finish, or?
Urethane would be the finish. Is it wood?
And it says carved. Maybe let's see if it's carved kind of.
I was thinking that it was the high density urethane was one of the, how they make molding that's a high density. I was thinking it was that.
Well, if you could check on that. I mean, the material, I was more concerned with the sign than the post. I assume is pretty standard.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll let us know on that.
Okay.
Do you have if it is like the that dense foam type product that's meant to resemble wood, is that going to be a non-starter? Does it need to be wood?
Most of the signs in the district.
Martha, can you answer that? Are there signs in the district that are not made of wood, that are the hanging signs?
Yeah. It's a synthetic. It's probably the same material that the historic plaques are made from. It's very, very durable. It's pretty standard. It will look like it's made of wood.
Okay.
So is the lettering carved into that, or how is it?
It's painted.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the board's interested in getting a sign that complies, but that will last, that we're not replacing.
Yeah, maybe it's a composite or something. Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm pretty certain it's the same type of thing they make, that composite trim work that would go on a building that's meant to resemble wood.
Oh, right. Like the...
I want to say PVC, but it's not that.
Not, I know it in, that starts with a Z or something. But,
Well, at any rate, I think the consensus is if we can just, we'll act at the next meeting, but that will give time for people who are away.
And if you could find out for sure the material of the sign, that would be helpful.
And you need a sample of the finish?
No.
If it's the same as others in the district, no.
Right.
But the obvious concern is to, and I'm sure you're sensitive to this, to avoid something that's just looks
glaring.
Looks like plastic.
Yeah.
So.
And can I just ask one more question? Is this open?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be a hanging signboard just like the current one, but the sizing, the proportions will be slightly different because of the square nature of the new logo. It won't be as...
Okay. Oh, I understand. Right.
Rectangular.
The one, the original one's larger.
Correct.
This is a public hearing. Any comments on the library?
I just, as a neighbor, we had not heard of it until we got the notification on Friday, so we didn't know, and most neighbors don't know, and I live across the street. As long as it's not backlit.
As long as it's not back.
Oh, like the Lime Art Academy sign is horrendous, but I think if it's like for like, I'm fine. The lights I would ask to be turned off at 10 and not always.
We've been having difficulty with the timing system.
They're on
right now.
Midnight, so that can be a little
And also, are they LED or are they...
No, they're not. I hope they're not. Like, I hope they're just very soft.
Regular, okay, soft ones. Okay.
We live across the street, if you're wondering. So when I'm sitting on my porch, I see everything that goes on at night. And so therefore, and some of the neighbors were concerned too, because there had been some backlit ones done down there. So I said I would come and listen and see what you were up to. But you might want to share with some of the neighbors just to alleviate any fears that you were doing anything that was a little crazy.
If you would like to do that, I know the notice goes out to addresses that are considered joining, so I don't know if there's
right. Yeah. So we got it. Thank you. And then we're also kind of conjoining to Spears, so we got that.
Right. But Martha could share addresses.
And I'm sure, I think if it's like for like, I don't see a big...
I mean, this, show her the pictures.
We're just replacing the board for the most part.
So you're leaving everything pretty much the same?
Yeah, we're replacing the post and we're replacing the board. All the hardware, the lighting, etc. is staying the same.
Except for the... Okay, yeah, fine.
Okay.
All right, so Martha, I'll resend the whole package to you just to make sure you received it.
Okay, that would be great.
Forward it to the group.
Yeah. Would it be possible to include the details on the lighting as well as kind of the bulb information that would be used? I think that's important to understand the light quality.
Right. I'll go take some close-up pictures, too, to give you a sense of what's there.
All right.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
I have my marching orders, and you'll hear from me soon.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, and we received an email from Patrick DeRosier, who lives across the street. His concern about the sign was that he prefers the one, the tall sign that's there, the style of that, rather than a lower horizontal sign. But it sounds like the new sign proposal is going to be pretty much exactly what was already there. So I'll let him know that.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you. The next item is William Backman, C of A application to install a generator near the garage. Generator will be screened by wooden fencing on the west and south side. Last meeting there was discussion about the tank and fence screening, and members visited the site. There's a letter from the Edmondsons in support of the tank and fence. So this was discussed, am I correct, at the last meeting? Discussion on this?
John, I brought up the point that when you're on the track, you can see the propane tank, because I believe that their plan has submitted their fence like this wasn't 100% covered. But I would say because of the back exposure, that it should be 100% covered. Because it's a big tank.
And the wooden fencing, do we have details on that? I have a picture here.
Right. Oh, you have the ladder?
It's just this sort of solid cedar board.
Okay.
It says the height is either 5 feet or 6 feet.
How high is that tank?
How high is the tank? Yeah.
Let me see. Above ground propane tank. Oh, no, they're proposing a 5-foot height. It just says 500-gallon tank. So it should be, this shows just these sides. So are you proposing, Deb, fencing all the way around?
I would definitely, because you can see it from the track. And like I said, it's a big tank. It's not like two small tanks. I would just say to be considerate for, the people that
users of the
of the track and that property.
And so this is behind, so it's not a fence that we would have approved. I think if it were right next to the road, but it's completely behind 2 buildings. Am I right?
Not really.
No.
You can see it.
Okay, Lime Street. Okay.
Because, John, we own that property. My husband did the renovation of that house and that garage, so...
Okay.
You know it well.
Oh, I see. There's Lime Street. So just down the property line.
If you're at the end of the driveway, you can see it.
But it's not close. It's not right on Lime Street.
No. But it's a highly visible...
It is.
...area.
Other comments?
I think if they do continue the fence on the on the two exposed sides, which would be the east side and the south side, then we would be willing to approve. That's my sense of the...
Right, and just get the height of the current tank, height of the fence to make sure that you're not seeing the top of it or whatever.
Right, to make sure that the fence height completely conceals the generator.
I agree with both of those comments. This is Russ.
Okay.
Okay, so the discussion, the consensus seems to be forming around approval of the 5-foot fence with the conditions that it is at least as high as the tank, and that it covers all 4 sides. Other discussion? Is there a motion? We do need to act on this today, given the timing of the application.
Right.
I can make a motion that we approve the fence with the condition that it is surrounded on all 4 sides and that the height of the fence is equal in height of the top of the tank, and that it is a wood construction. And are there any other specifics on the wood?
Cedar.
Cedar wood construction.
Yeah, the only quibble, Russ, is to say equal to the height of the tank. How about at least as high as the tank?
At least as high as the tank.
Okay.
I second. Do you call for discussion, Joe?
Oh, yeah, I should officially call for discussion. We've been chatting.
Yes.
So now is the motion and the discussion.
So I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Jim Grable's fence and gate. He said...
For a second, I'm really sorry. I think there's been some confusion as to when I'm supposed to be here. I was told to be here initially at 9:30, but I've been...
Oh, sure.
A message came in that I saw this morning.
Oh, sorry. We have 10:45 for you.
Well, but that wasn't told to me until...
Yeah, let's have it.
And I think this is pretty brief. I don't mean to...
Okay, we'll move up the consideration of 54.
Well, I guess 2 of you don't have a mask. I'm vaccinated and...
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But
I can take my...
yeah, from back there.
They told me on the door if they needed.
Anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm John Noyce.
Richard Jones.
Good to meet you.
I've
See you
met
again.
you
Met us.
before. Well,
So you send a new sketch.
yeah, well, I apologize for my artwork,
I thought it was impressive.
but,
I really did.
well, so anyway, and a number of you all have come by and looked at this. One of the things that I wanted to accomplish with this sketch is that I found a dreadful-looking fence that made of plastic that had been removed from another part of the house that I now live in, and it was headed for the dump. But size-wise, it was even somewhat smaller than the fence that I proposed. But I put it against the generator and then went out to the sidewalk and looked back at the bushes and stuff, and frankly, you can't see the generator at all. And what we propose is there's a cedar fence that you can all set the posts that you attach it to and the one across the top are made of cedar, and the wood in the middle of it, that the lattice work, is you can either have it this way or you can put it on an angle. I happen to think it looks best going horizontally rather than vertically. But at any rate, it covers it beautifully. This sketch was just mainly to show where the building is, where the generator is, where that fence is, and then there are mature plants already here. And even in the wintertime when they're not in bloom, or these are always green, but the one in the middle, I think it's called bush hydrangea, but not to bunch into that stuff. But it's a beautiful bush, and it's so high that it actually has its branches that go all the way up to the studio sign up here. So at any rate, our proposal, which you all asked me to sort of come up with, was a way to not see the generator from the street. I think this is accomplished. I was hoping not to put this in, but it's very doable. And as I said, we don't want to see it any more than you want the town to see it or you all to see it. I think it accomplishes. The only thing that is in question from my point of view is if you go past the house and look back on an angle, is there a possibility to see it from over here? And I think it's possible with the stuff that's already there. I'm just not sure. But it's easy enough, and I'm happy to do it, to put another section of this fencing, whatever you call it, arbor stuff, that's 8 feet long and goes over this way. So there's no way to see the generator at all. So I don't know what else to propose other than to stipulate that if, in fact, it's the bushes in front plus this structure behind it are not adequate and we need some more bushes, we'll buy the bushes. I mean, our interest is the same as yours, and that's just to not see it. And I think that's very doable. So I don't know what else to
what is the material of these two sections?
What's the material? Cedar.
Oh, okay, or cedar. Okay.
You can get plastic, which is about half the cost, but it looks half the cost. Yeah. It just doesn't look very nice.
And do we have a picture of the fence? You were talking about cross-hatching.
Well, there's always two choices when you get these fences. There's one that's like this, and here's the post on a post, and inside is this network of stuff. So you can either do it slats that are this way, and they're 1 5/8 squares,
right? Or
you can do it when they all go this way, and they just don't look as nice.
Okay.
But it's all cedar. I mean, it costs more because it just looks nice, nicely finished, and a nice top. Again, you can't even see it, but it's still made out of nice material and durable.
And they're 4 feet tall, and the generator is 210. Is that right?
I got to put on my spectacles. Yeah, the generator is. I think I put some notes on it. The generator's
5 feet long. It's 210.
Yeah.
Okay.
And its height is 210, and these are 4 feet.
Yep. Okay.
And is this a current picture?
Yes, and I sent it to you. And the generator is that square box that you can see here.
Yeah. So
and this covers that entire thing.
But this hydrangea is deciduous, so
that's why the fence will go
fall and winter.
Well,
That's a good
even
important
right
point.
now, it pretty much hides this thing, but it needs the fence behind it. So it'll go between, it'll be out in front of the fence, and then the fence thing, and then 2 feet, and then the generator.
Okay, I had blanked on this turnaround.
John, if you
Would
look
you-
at his,
Let me see.
Right. Yeah,
so this
I
is the current
understand.
bush.
It'll go in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that leaves room for...
So this is a deciduous hydrangea?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous thing. Right now, it has all little pussyvilla things on it. It's
Right.
a beautiful bush.
And then something else
And
here. Okay.
very much, yeah.
I still think that we're concerned about the visibility of the fence for 5 or 6 months of the year when the deciduous hydrangea is not. The visibility of the fence. So would you consider planting some, something not deciduous, either you or, you know,
Well, I don't think the fence is all that obnoxious. I mean, this is a gorgeous tree, bush, I don't know what to shrub, but it's so tall, I don't know what to call it. That's, it's for 10 months of the year, it still has leaves on it, which will hide this entirely for 2 months in the winter time.
well, from November through, it doesn't really leaf out until April. I mean, it's actually more than 2 months.
Well, we'd be willing to put in some more bushes, but obviously when you're buying mature bushes, which this would need to be, 2 or 3 feet tall, it's adding, each bush would, well, depends what you get, but nice.
We can get
Alberta
Japanese
spruce
holly
or
or,
But they're going to be $200 or $300 a piece at that height.
well,
Which we can do, and
Yeah.
we will do. I'd rather leave it with the, let's see if we need it, and let's see, come. I hate to do it when it's not necessary. The expense of this whole project and this whole house is astonishing. In this day and time, it's going to get worse.
but
But that's not your problem. That's
we
my
had
problem.
really wanted you to consider putting this generator, as you know, on the north side of the
Yeah,
building.
I'll not do that.
And I know you're reluctant to do that, and I think we're quite reluctant to have even a cedar fence because we can see if it's needed or not, we can see right now what it will look like without screening of the fence, without planting up that in any way softens the look of the fence. And
I really
again,
don't want to do that.
What?
I really don't want to go to the business of moving this. The cost of putting this someplace else is ridiculous. If you insist on it, I don't know quite what we'll do.
Well, one concern is, of course, it's, we make decisions obviously about the specific case, but it is, the decisions we make are made by a governing body, so people can look back on decisions. So what do we do if everyone else who wants a generator wants it right street side or right in the front rather than...
Well, one of the proposals initially by you all was to put a fence there. In fact, I think you mentioned, well, you could put a fence there. Maybe it wasn't you, but
No, I don't think
somebody
so.
that came by from here
Yes, it was one consideration, for sure.
said that an attractive cedar fence, if you could sort of see it at all, to promise you can't see it at all, I don't know as I can promise that. Whether getting some, whether you all would accept some more bushes here to hide it, I guess I'd have to sort of retreat to that position. But
John, there's one other precedent concern, and that is equipment meeting the community noise code. So one question I would have is, at its location, would the generator meet the community old line residential noise code on the sidewalk? without a fence, then if it is a fence, does that help meet the noise code? And what kind of fence construction would it take to meet the noise code? You know, with a unit on the located on the other side of the structure, the structure shields the sidewalk or the community from the noise of the generator. So one question is, how often does the generator operate for maintenance, and does that fall within the requirement of the community noise code?
Raising a somewhat new issue for me. The noise goes out to the north. So as you look at the picture, to the right, and then there's a building lot that's empty next to it, and then there's the yellow barn that has caused such consternation next door, and that's certainly a great buffer from a noise point of view for the neighbors. Not that they've raised the issue, but so that the noise mainly goes in that direction. And
I think the general concern is the sidewalk. In other words, the community noise along the sidewalk as well, being one other. Again, in thinking about a precedent situation of mechanical equipment in the front yards. Yeah.
I guess I'd say it's somewhat back from the front yard, but I can't tell you exactly how often the generator recharges itself. It's once a week for approximately an hour. Now, obviously, in storm time, that's a different kettle of fish, and I assume it runs as long as you need it. And Honda is one of the gentler noise-wise. I think it's a Honda. I should know. I don't know what the noise code is, and the people that brought it, and they didn't raise it either. So I can't answer the question specifically, but it weekly has to charge itself or charge the battery.
Yeah, we have a generator. There is some noise. We ended up having to put it back behind an outbuilding because to cut down on the noise.
But still, it's a very common piece of equipment now.
It is.
I think we need to realize that everybody in this area has one, or is going to want one. Whether we set a precedent, and I know Dr. Yours is just very visible, and it's in a very visible location, so I think you understand our concern, but I do think it is something that we're going to have to realize that more and more people are going to want one. And the noise, I don't know what the noise regulations are, but they do run mine runs 20 minutes every Tuesday. And I can hear it from inside my house, really. So it's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, the noise ordinance is a town ordinance, it's not a historic district regulation.
And this would be what Deb is saying is exactly why we're encouraging property owners to locate their generators back from the street, not right on the street.
Right, and we understand you really couldn't, because when they come and tell you where they're going to put it, they're doing it for a reason.
Well, the power from the street comes here into right here.
Right, and you would have to lay cable to put it on this side. You would have to go, alongside and.
Well, that's the main. It's a big deal. And
it is, because there's windows. I understand we had to move ours, and it was quite a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is rocks like crazy over. I mean, that would be a.
Right, I understand.
It would be a project for sure.
Well.
We haven't talked about the location of the tanks.
Again, that came. The people that got involved in that were Wilcox, and they can't go here And they said, but they can put them back here fairly easily. There's a recess of the building, and there currently are two of these. I don't know what they're called, but they're bushes with a base like this. We cut them down to about this. They have leaves on them that if you try to prune them, they're sharp and they're itchy and they're miserable.
Junipers, maybe?
I wouldn't know the name if you told me, but in the spring, they grow like crazy and do this great, huge bush. And we could easily grow them all year round. I mean, we cut them back.
So these would not be underground tanks?
No, these are, they call them salamanders. They're horizontal rather than vertical tanks. So they're about this tall off the ground. So they're pretty well hidden back here. The recess of the house, this has to be 3 feet. If you get bigger tanks, then you get into all sorts of the upright tanks. The windows here, there's big windows here for the
and then how would you get the propane to? You'd have to dig a trench and put in a pipe.
They say not, curiously enough, but it could be done. That could be done because they don't plant them very deep when they bury them. One of the ways they do it now, curiously enough, and I questioned it, but they said, oh yeah, we do it all the time, is they attach it to the pipe to the house. Okay, again, you just couldn't see these from the street.
Are they there currently?
Yeah, they honestly, the base is about that big around, and there must be 1,000 things that come out of it. It's a brown, sort of a brownish bush, but they're cut back now.
No, I'm saying, are the tanks currently there?
No.
Okay.
No.
And so are they going to be behind the building, or they will be on the side?
The side.
The north side. That's the north side.
Okay.
This is the street. This is north.
So I know, Dr. Jones, I've asked you this before, but one more time, just so I'm clear. The reason it was the tanks here now, and the reason you couldn't put the generator here with screening around it here, the reason is simply cost of the trenching. Is that right? If it weren't for the cost, you could put the generator here close to the tanks, eliminating this, whatever difficulty there is of connecting the two.
You can see this area from the street.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either got to be big bushes or fencing.
Sure.
I mean, this was the one that was proposed to me by the builder and the other people that don't have any interest one way or the other, truthfully. I surely could get the folks to see it. I mean, it's bringing in the machinery to move it, and that's not that big a deal. I mean, they're not very heavy. But yeah, it could be done.
Right.
I wouldn't be happy about it, but
right, because
I'm at your mercy.
But then we're looking for screening for those tanks as well.
Yeah, so then he would be doing some nice landscaping, either the existing, letting them grow up, the existing shrubs. I don't know what they are yet, but we'll be happy to take a look at them, or creating a screening that goes like this. You can still keep this hydrangea. It doesn't have to be moved. There'd be some screening here, just some visibility of the tanks from the street. You can place whatever shrubs you're thinking of. Something that's bushy, probably. You'd want something deciduous, but not deciduous.
The plants that are there are, they'll cover it like crazy. They're not a terribly attractive plant in that setting, but for screening some tanks on the side of the house, the neighbor's not going to complain from his building because he can't see out of his building.
Right.
So
From a cost perspective, you'd save the cost of the fence, you'd save the cost of the landscaping here, you'd save the cost of the extra piping here, but you'd incur the cost of building the generator here.
yeah, well, they come in with a forklift, and that's
it would be a cost, but not insurmountable. Okay.
Okay. Russ, any further comments? I mean, on the noise ordinance, that's an issue with the town. I mean, I can give you Russ wrote up a note about Chapter 95. During the night, 45 dBA, Russ, is decibels.
Correct. That's right, John.
And during the day, 55. So it's a matter of checking
20 minutes once a week for that. I mean,
there's to my understanding, there's no time limit. I can't speak to the noise ordinance because it's a town ordinance.
But so I can't.
But if I'm sure the generator manufacturer can give you the decibels that it puts out, and if it does exceed the noise ordinance, you would need to seek an exemption, I think, from the town.
And or screening. And my concern, John, is if it requires some kind of sound screening, is that in the front location, does that then change the design? It's in other words, it's important that the equipment meet the town noise code, and whatever it requires to do that we understand that relative to the design. In other words, typically what you do if you need sound screening is you have to build a barrier fence or wall of a certain height to provide the shielding. The further the unit is away from the sound receiver, the quieter it will be at that location. And so I think it's just important that the equipment, and that's the concern when placing equipment near the sidewalk, for example, or on the side of a facade, the front facade along Lime Street, is meeting the noise ordinance, and then whatever screening requirement it would take to meet that. So that's why I raised the issue.
Vegetation doesn't do the work of...
Right, and vegetation doesn't do the work, right.
The generator moved around the corner, the noise comes out there, it would come out this way towards my backyard, which I wouldn't care about. I mean, and then you're into the marsh. So, I mean, it's a fairly directed noise thing out of we've seen a little funnel-like thing. That may be the fallback position. I sense that you all have big reservations about this, and I do. I guess I do too. That how you're coming at it, but you're the ones that are going to control this, not me.
So would you be able to check on the decibel issue so that we could, if it were here and funneled this way, as opposed to if it were here and funneled to the north?
I'm here in Town Hall. There must be some. Sure, I guess I can.
The difficulty is these things are noisy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funneled one way, but you don't just get the noise from that side.
But that's not, in a way, that's not a decision for you all as to what you're recommending. That's what the town says. And heaven knows there are generators going up all over the place. I mean, across the street, you've got one that you're going to have to deal with, maybe already have. You know, in the backyard, a guy put one in, blows the noise into the neighbor's house.
The decision for us would have to do with any structure. In other words, if the output does exceed what the town allows, and you need some sound screening, that's a physical thing that we have jurisdiction over.
This is no different than the standard generator that people are putting into the houses all over town.
But most of them are located behind the house. That's the concern. In other words, the one across the street is behind the house, so the house it creates the shielding. When you place it between the front facade facing Lime Street, the building structure is not providing any shielding. So the question is, and maybe this generator is quiet enough that no shielding would be required. And I think that's but if shielding is required, between there and Lime Street, then we would need to know what that is.
I can certainly look on the material that came with the generator and see what the specs are, because I really don't know. I'm in the building where there's the building department. I suppose I can go ask them today what do they have. And you had a reference for me.
Yeah, it's Old Lyme Chapter 95. It's the noise code. You can look it up it's available online.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
should be available.
Well, I can be on my way, and you all decide what the next epistle I'll get from you.
We do need to make a decision today on the current application, so we can handle this a couple of different ways. We can take a vote based on what we have. You could withdraw this and resubmit it with, information about the sound screen, or we could segregate the issues. Approve or vote on what we have before us and treat a sound screen, if necessary, as a separate issue that would require another application if it's needed.
For sure. Well, I can find out that as quickly as I can. I would think you need to make a decision on this. I sense where you're going, and I don't agree with it, but I own the house, and I own a generator, a new one. I'm sort of between a rock and a hard place.
But it might be to your advantage. It might be to your overall advantage to locate the generator not as close to the sidewalk in terms of the noise code. So my suggestion is that we do not vote today, but rather we vote as a package about once the noise code information is provided, and once we see how that would affect the placement of the generator, that we then vote on the whole thing.
Well, the noise code is such that this is not an acceptable location, and that takes precedence over everything. If it cannot go there because of the noise code, then I got to go to Plan B, which is your Plan A, and go over here. I don't have much of a choice on that, as I see it. But I don't know what the code is.
My preference would be to vote on the whole decision in April when Deanie is here and Russ is here. We can all take one last look at it. Anyway, that's just my suggestion.
The difficulty is we have to act today on the pending application. We have 65 days to act, so that's up within a week. So it's really, we're forced to act unless you want to withdraw this application. Let's pin down the noise code, see if a screen is necessary, just refile this, and then we can act expeditiously. We've been through everything. But if you want us to act on what we have before us today, we can do that.
Well,
in other words, we can't withdraw the application for you.
But you can turn it down.
Yes.
We could.
And then we're back to zero.
Well, not necessarily. We've had a lot of discussion, and it's not that we're saying no generators. Obviously, everybody's getting generators. So,
well, I can find out what the generator code is. That's not going to be hard to do. You have to have an answer today. I guess I'd ask you to go ahead and vote on it. I hate to go through the whole process again, but, and I have to say I'm A, surprised and B, disappointed, but you've got a job you've got to do.
Well, we need a motion to do something.
I don't know what to propose. I'm not sure what is taking in your concerns into account. Plus, you understand why this is taking us a lot of time, and Russ has explained it, Deanie explained it to you, and it's not an easy decision for us to make, and we do recognize that it's a precedent-setting decision. So, my suggestion would be that you withdraw this application, provided it won't be very hard for you to type out another application, submit it to us, and we act on it at the April meeting. But that's, as John said, that's your call.
Yeah, the other thing, and that's fine. I'm not sure I care which way we do it, but there's a sense, and I've heard it talked about in the community, that suddenly there's a new set of rules going on, and that this would not have been questioned a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of discussion about generators on the street, and that you want to tighten up on it because it's been somewhat loose, and generators that are in place they're still in place. I don't know if that's fair or not, but I'm uncomfortable that you're coming to the decision you're coming with.
Well, as you've heard, I think a lot of the concern has to do with the placement right in front of a very historic building.
Well,
I don't know of any other generators that are placed right in front of the house.
What's to maintain some familiarity and friendliness in the group? After all, I live next door here. I'm a member of the group, and frankly, approve of what you do in writ large. Writ small, I'm thinking, the easiest thing for the committee would be for me to withdraw it. And then resubmit it after I get some more facts. Would that be the nicest way to do it from your point of view?
I think that would be the cleanest way because then we would have everything in front of us.
Okay. So okay. Well, that sounds to me like the decibel level is the big problem, but
the decibel level, and I think you've heard enough concern about the placement right in front, facing the sidewalk,
and also the screening of the fence
and the screening,
and that helps the town ultimately in that any other proposals would then, this is a good model for the things that need to be checked, right? So if you can imagine your neighbor across the street putting equipment in the front of the house, I think you would want the same kind of due diligence. So we appreciate the extra effort, as it is beneficial more broadly.
Yeah, I know you're using that as an example, but the neighbor across the street is the school, so that wouldn't be a problem. I listen to their noise all the time. Neighbor to the north is certainly not a problem. So maybe it goes from place that they may have to come to the house and take a look and take measure. I don't know what they do. Okay, so I'll withdraw it, and as soon as I get more data, I can resubmit it, or do I have to wait a month to?
No, you can resubmit it tomorrow.
Okay.
We can't act until the April meeting.
Well, I mean, you'll still have your file, and we can sort of reopen it and put another. Yeah. Well, I'll go find the building department or the code, or I'll find out how to get that and see what's what.
Thank you.
And
We appreciate it.
if there is a need for sound screening and they don't sound like that, the other option is seek an exemption from them for this.
Well, I suppose the worst come to worst, they say you can't have a generator.
Well, you can always move it to the back, which we know you don't want to do because that's your garden space. I mean, everybody understands that, but that's always
well, the other thing is to move it in the side yard of this building.
Yeah.
I mean, I butt your driveway over here, not yours, but the town hall driveway, and the town hall driveway has their generator aimed at my house, so I can.
Where would that be again, please? Could you show me on the map? Could you show me on the map where the other alternative would be?
Not on this map.
So it would be the far side of your house. So the south side of your house.
This is the road out here, and my house is here, let's say, and the driveway in between. And then there's a house over here.
This is a studio.
No, the studio's here. This is attaching this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understand.
I can turn it around the other way, so let's do it that way, because that's the way it is. All right. That's north. This is we're looking this way. Okay, so the house is here, where I said house. So I had to put it there, and the house. I don't know what else to put on there, but there's a house like this, and there's the road. Back here, there's I'll call it the backyard, and the marsh is here.
Right.
And the town hall is over here.
Right.
This is the town hall. And actually, my property abuts what you were talking about in the very beginning of the Spears Playmark. We ended up deeding some of the backyard so you could have a driveway and a turnaround out and back here. But so there's marsh here. I mean, it could go back there. But again, when you start bringing in the main from the street back to there and then getting it from here into the house, there's no basement under this part. This is a dug basement. An old house, it's a big deal. You got big, huge stones down there. You can't drill a hole in it; it'll start to fall apart. So,
sure.
This is where it needs to be, quote unquote, is here into the house. You go back here and come way back up this way, and if we're going to have tunnels, it would be. This is somewhat more doable to come around this way and then use the power into the house as it currently is.
Right.
Shouldn't be this complicated. It is.
It's very complicated. Okay.
So the next step is mine to I don't know what to do other than get the noise thing, and then you'll have to vote on. I sense that you're going to vote no on this. I mean, certainly this. Well, I'm not sure about you, but who knows how? But let's say the vote is essentially going to go with it's got to go there or nowhere sort of stuff. I'd accept that. I don't want to, but
I mean, I guess I would say of other things to include. Yes, check on the noise regulation, but if the noise is such and the town's requirements regarding exemptions are such that you need some kind of sound screening, it would be helpful to have information about the sound screening. It also would be helpful to have pictures about what you're proposing for screening for the tanks. I don't know whether a fence is necessary there or if the plantings are thick enough to shield the tanks, but some pictures would be helpful.
Okay. Go home and talk to my wife. Happens to be my wedding anniversary, so she may not be too happy with the news.
Well, I hope it
Happy
doesn't,
anniversary anyway.
doesn't spoil your anniversary and that you're doing
Now,
something
after
special.
this many years, it takes bigger things than that. Okay, thank you all
Thanks
very
so much
much.
for your
And,
time.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we are back to where's my sheet? We are back to 1 Boston Post Road, and Jim Grable is not here. Just for the record, we did approve. Oh, there's Jim. Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Yeah.
First of all, this is a vest that somebody left at the last meeting.
Oh.
My paperwork in it, so Tim Griswold thought it was mine and dropped it off to me.
Oh,
It might be Academy Green and
Deanie, maybe?
okay.
That's just information, my information in it and stuff, so he was out here from the table. And he asked me about it, so it's not mine, I wasn't in the country at the time, so.
I mean, Jim, we approved your C of A subject to issues to be discovered during the site visit. So we have that list that Martha referred to in her letter. So we've got the fence that we've been discussing, but some other odds and ends as well. So is that? Could I see the papers? Was this your stuff?
Looks like a woman, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can give this to Dean. I think it's probably Deanie's. I can take it if no one else does.
Okay. So I proposed a couple of different ideas for gates for one DVR, and this is the one that I decided I'd like to go with. It's a vinyl picket, which would be low maintenance, so I can power wash it like every couple of years. I won't have to paint it every year and replace rotted wood and stuff. So this is I think it looks nice with the columns. It's a gate just by itself without the fence, so.
Will it have these?
Those, it won't be secured to the columns, it's going to be secured by the post.
Oh, okay, so this is not,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed that.
So
Could you say again?
it's just a picture I took out of the magazine.
Okay.
Right.
So it's actually the post.
But the post with this,
Well,
is what you're,
that's their picture. I'm hoping I can duplicate that. I'm not sure about that, but
So you're going to have
I'm thinking about the gate itself.
Okay, so it's gate without this because there's stone.
I'll have posts, there'll be wooden posts on the side, painted with a wider vinyl like this. I gotta go see them. I didn't go see them yet until I decide which way I've got approval for.
I mean, it looks like the posts are attached to the fence directly because you got hinges for the gate.
The two 5-foot panel gates will be attached to wooden post, not to the columns. The column space in between is 11 feet. So these are 6 inches each, so it'll be, take away a foot, so it'll be 10 foot left for the gates.
and I'm not clear on the existing stone posts. Where will those be?
They'll stay the way they are.
So they'll be,
They're large stone pillars,
yeah.
although that was,
They're 6 foot, so it'll be taller.
but that was one of the issues on that
Yeah.
letter to
So the
discuss.
opening is 12 or
No,
11 feet?
11, yeah.
And then this is going to be 10 feet?
After the posts are there, next to the column,
And the height of
the
it?
gates are 5 feet each.
so this is 5 feet at the tallest point.
Let's try 4 foot to maybe 4.5.
And this
Just a
is going to be,
slight raise. Rather than do something straight like this, I prefer doing a little design.
So this is in the extra driveway
Yeah.
that will,
I'm
this
closing
will be
off that
pretty much
driveway.
closed.
Closing off the driveway by the corner.
This is the current driveway. It's not the new opening.
It won't be accessible.
But this is the extra one. The new one is under construction.
Yeah, it's just a
Okay.
walkway for them to take the garbage cans out to the street and get their mail. So you can open the side as well.
This is the one that's...
It is accessible in case of emergency, in case the fire truck has to come in or something like that, they probably squeeze in there, but it's not gonna be, for vehicles.
Can you show us on your diagram? Do we have this diagram?
Maybe it's in that paperwork.
And the hardware will be on the, on the
driveway.
inside, yeah.
Yeah, I gave that at the other meeting.
That's okay.
Oh,
I agree.
I'm sorry, here.
That's the old design, that's the old gate that I proposed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
I
iron.
want to see the visual of the driveway.
I'm not sure if it's in there. Well, here's the pillars that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I know, I don't know if the schematic is in there.
I'm just interested in how this gate is going to look next to the pillars, you know, in terms of height, and this existing wall will remain, right?
Yeah.
So the existing...
Loose stone wall, that's a concrete, that wall.
This is masonry, right?
That stays, all that stays, nothing is touched there.
Right.
I opened up the upper end here, I took those stones and I'm going down, I'm gonna close off the first entrance by the, curved ice jump house.
Right.
Russ, are you there still?
Yes, John, I'm here.
Can you call up on your computer? I forgot to bring mine. The site report for Jim Grable's property that we did. I think there was some reference to the pillars or concern about the pillars.
Let's see. It'll take me a minute here, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the new driveway is the one back here, correct?
No, that's being closed off completely.
I thought it was
So the new driveway's up this side. Oh, there's a house.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
The new driveway's
This one's
up
being
there.
closed
This
off.
one's being closed
So
off.
this is just his auxiliary area, the fence
Right.
that we're talking, and the new driveway's there. Okay.
Right.
How high are the pillars? Do we have a height on them?
He told us that just a minute ago. 6 feet, right? Didn't you tell us this distance from here to the top of it is
No,
6?
the current pillars.
Oh, the current.
They're 6 foot,
Oh, that's 6 feet. Okay.
And this distance, again, one more time?
probably like 4 or 5 probably,
Okay.
max 5.
I mean, he's not
Max five.
proposing to have those.
It's just a picture, it'll
So
be wooden posts
He
or
would just
vinyl posts.
he would just have the
Might have flat caps on them.
the gate.
Oh, these are not part of this?
No, they're attached to the fence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this gate would abut the existing stone pillar?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
But they'll have
Sorry,
to
it
be some
took me
kind
a
of,
Stone pillar is gonna be right here.
but we'd have.
But what's going to attach the gate to the ground?
Well, it doesn't have, it's off the ground, it's attached to the post.
But the post is not going to be there.
But there'll
The
be
stone
some other
post
kind of post.
will be, or some
might not
fill-in.
So the
or
gate
some
will be
fill-in.
attached to the stone post?
Or to some fill-in, because the gate is 10 feet and he's got
6 inches,
6 inches on each side.
So
So
then
you'd
they
have
haven't put
a
in
board
between
like
columns.
that to attach the hinges to.
And what would that look like?
I don't know.
Right, what would the attachment be for the gate between the posts?
The post would be in the ground.
No, I know, but what would the material be of this connecting?
Probably vinyl, I would think, if I get vinyl.
So there will be a post,
Oh,
a vinyl
Or it
post.
could be maybe I'd do a wooden post painted white.
Right, 'cause you only have so much between the pillars, so
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna have to be custom, I would think.
John, I have the notes in front of me, and basically it was that the gate would abut the existing stone wall pillars on either side of that opening.
Right, but our site report wasn't there some concern about the pillars, the stone pillars themselves?
It says there are tall, large stone columns on each side of the driveway.
When we came to the recommendations that Martha referenced in her letter to Jim.
I'm trying to see if there's any notes about that.
It's not the notes, it's the site report.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the site walk notes, yeah.
Site walk.
The site walk visit, yeah. Martha, maybe, do you have the final version of that? Is Martha still on?
Yes, yep.
Maybe.
So I'm looking at the site report, and it just says there are tall and large stone columns on each side of this driveway. That's the old driveway. The proposed fence would go in between them. The recommendations are that the fence and gate be no higher than 4 feet tall, that the fence and gate be constructed either of vertical slats, as at 107 Lime Street, or of 3 horizontal boards, as at 110 Lime Street, and that the fence and gate abut the existing stone wall / pillars on either side of this opening.
Okay.
So it refers to fence and gate. So I think you could probably say that the posts that the gate would be attached to would be a fence.
Right.
Because you wouldn't want to be attaching the gate to the stone pillars. You would want them, it would look better if they were attached to a post.
Right. Okay. I know there was some concern about the height of the stone pillars, but it was not in the report.
So 4 feet.
No, there's no mention that the pillars would be changed at all. The pillars would just be left as they are.
And this is 5 feet, is that right?
Right.
Right.
No. And Martha and Russ were looking at the photo with the kind of arched midpoint.
And is it 5 feet?
Okay.
And they wanted, is that right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's, assuming the fence, do you know how tall the fence is, Jim?
There's no fence.
No, I know, but
okay.
just, I'm trying to judge.
A 4 foot height gate. 4
Okay.
foot, so if they have a problem with the arch, a little arch.
Okay, so
we can do a flat.
No,
the arch is only a few inches.
A little raised.
I think that's fine, John, based
This one is
on.
a basic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Russ?
Go straight across our 4 foot fence.
I think the intent was that the 4 foot height would allow for some rise, like in the middle. That
Yes.
We just didn't want the overall gate to be, 6 or 8 feet or anything. That
So
trying to be in keeping, yeah.
So that's okay. And do you have concerns about the material? Anyone? Comments about the material?
I wasn't at the meeting when this was discussed the first time, so I'm not sure how many of the white picket fences on Upper Lime Street are made of vinyl. I just don't happen to know that.
Either.
Martha, is there a precedent for white picket fences on Upper Lime Street, for example, in front of the property north and south of the Acoustic Cafe? Are those wood or are those vinyl?
I don't know.
Consistency.
There is a precedent for using a composite material to avoid having to repaint things. The sign in front, the new sign in front of the church, is not wood. It's some type of composite. I think Deanie Mallory's gate is made of a composite material, the gate in between her boxwood shed shrubs.
She called it something called treated wood, Azak, A-Z-A-K. Azak. I don't have, I'm not familiar with it.
That's a composite material.
That's composite, yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty common to use a synthetic type of material.
But not necessarily vinyl, because this Azak composite is different from vinyl. Okay.
Yes. Yes. The Azak has kind of a matte finish look to it.
It should have a wood appearance, but it seems to me it could be a synthetic, but what you don't want is a shiny, plasticky look, right? You want it to appear like it's wood. And I certainly understand Jim's concern about maintenance, because mine's all wood, and wood is challenging to keep up. So I appreciate that, Jim. Yeah.
So you say this is vinyl. Do you know if it looks like wood? I mean, do you have a sample of this?
No, I have the picture, which I'm hoping you get approved, because I don't go by a fence, a gate, and then you say, well, it's too shiny, it's too high, it's too something. I want to get approval on what you're looking for, so I can take that in the spring. We're ready to go here pretty soon. So, the two options I have is the one with a little arch on it to make it look nice between the columns, or the basic flat top.
And what is the material on that one?
4 foot.
No, the material.
It's vinyl.
Well,
this is a 5 foot, but I'm sure the 4 foot.
No, I mean, I think
maybe they make a 4.
What I'm hearing is that the arch is fine, and I think it's a bit more aesthetic.
I think so too.
So, are we willing to take a vote on approving this type of fence, so long as the material is either wood or a composite material that with this Azak finish or something similar that looks like wood?
But not plastic or vinyl?
That's right. Not the shiny vinyl.
Like my fence down on Academy Lane. But I don't
know that.
We could check that. I'd be glad to go and look, but I'm not familiar with the property, but I'd be happy to go and check it if you...
Behind Chocolate Shell. Behind Chocolate Shell on the side parking lot on Academy Lane.
On the south side of Academy Lane.
Behind the property, behind the next... right across from Deanie, I guess.
Yeah.
So Chocolate Shell's across from Deanie's.
Put up a vinyl fence. So it would be that type of material that I'm thinking, but...
And have you checked into that
composite? Is that facing Lime Street, or is it behind it?
It faces Academy Lane.
Oh, okay.
Behind Chocolate Shell.
I gotcha.
I'd be glad to check. But would you be willing to look at into this composite, synthetic composite that looks like wood?
I could check on that.
Could we, just so Jim is, and we're all up to speed, and I know Martha referred to the other issues, but Martha, if you've got the letter at hand, could you just read off the other, it's not as immediate as the need for the gate, but the other concerns, the other conditions from the site report?
Sure, yep. Let's see. So
she wrote a letter. She referred to the lawn area out front, the gravel color, I'm forgetting all of them. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So at the first meeting that we talked about this, we were concerned that the new stone wall, the part that will fill in the one of the entrances that's going to be closed off, we wanted to make sure that the new stone wall would match the old one, basically.
Yeah.
cement in the cracks and not
Right.
flat.
And Mr. Graybill assured us that that would be the case, that it will match. And let's see, that the pavement between the new stone wall and the road be removed and the area seeded. I don't know if that driveway is paved right now or not, but...
Yeah, I believe it is.
I believe so.
There's pavement between the stone wall and the road.
That's
Okay.
removed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be grass along the street
Right.
with a curbing.
Right.
The curb will be complete on the street so nobody can go up there. So stone wall will be complete, same as it is right now. This will be a paved area from in front of the house over to the new driveway, new entrance, and there'll be a gravel parking area for 5 cars, dry gray gravel. And it's all been approved by DOT.
Yep, that's right.
Were there any other site report concerns?
The gravel in the parking area, I believe, Jim, you're putting in a new parking area, and the surface of that, I think, John, was a point.
The area up in front of the wall, between the wall and the street, there'll be no plantings, so it doesn't block the visibility. Plus the state comes by and mows and wreck it. So that's all going to be maintained as grass area. Behind the stone wall, between the new driveway and the stone wall is maybe 12 feet area. There'll be plantings, shrubs and bushes and, it won't be long. It'll be more buffer in the street with plantings.
And what type of gravel will the driveway be?
It'll be on the left side.
No, but what kind of gravel?
Gravel, peat, whatever, pea stone or what they use for parking area, processed raised gravel.
Were there any other site report issues?
The only other thing I see here is says the stone wall between the existing south and north driveway entrances is not natural. It's topped with flat stones, and its chinks are filled with crumbling cement. That's the only other comment that I see there.
Yeah. I mean, I would be inclined to let them crumble so it ends up looking back to its natural state.
More natural. Mm-hmm.
The stone wall between the 2 original driveway entrances is different from the other stone walls. It has a flat top, and it has cement in the chinks.
In front of the house? Yeah. That stays the way it is.
Right, but I'm just saying, rather than if the cement falls out, rather than patching in new cement, just let it look more natural.
I'm not doing anything with that area. Let that area stay the way it is.
So I think, just to sum up, the only thing, we're leaning toward this composite Azar material rather than a shiny vinyl. And the only thing we haven't resolved, I think, is what the column, the fill-in, will look like between the new gate and the existing stone pillar. That's, as far as I've been following, that's the one thing that's not quite resolved, not quite decided.
But it should be
the post you want flat top.
Yeah, it should not be another ornate top next to rather ornate pillars.
Right. So flat-topped columns rather than...
Yeah, forget that design. Forget that. Because I think with the column, it looks better with the flat top post rather than a design, because it'd be too much, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
And I suggest we use the term wood or wood-like appearance instead of specifying a particular material.
That's excellent, Russ.
So do we have a motion to approve the fence with the gate, with the curved top and fill in pillars next to the between the stone pillars and the gate, general height of 4 feet, not excluding the arch. The arch may go slightly above 4 feet.
Yeah, with the arch, maybe a 6-inch increase, so
Right.
like 4.6
To
for the
be
height, total height of the gate.
to be made of wood or wood-like appearance. And then just to confirm that I don't sense any objection to from Jim to maintain the same style stone wall when filling in the unused driveway, to remove the pavement and reseed, to use the parking, have gravel in the parking area that is gray. And frankly, I missed the discussion about shrubbery, where that would go.
The what?
You were talking about shrubbery?
That was my suggestion, to put a buffer behind the stone wall and the new driveway entrance coming in to the existing one. It's like a 16-foot
Do we have any pictures
wide
from
area,
them?
put buffer in there, so I don't know it.
Would it be behind this?
Yeah, or is it behind this wall?
Right behind the stone.
What's the
Which
map?
wall?
Oh, I didn't bring it, I thought you had that, the original map I brought.
And we're just looking at the photograph, trying to visualize it.
Like a natural buffer zone.
If Ned were here, he would recommend the reinstating the roses.
Just on the video, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's another issue. But that's something to consider. This area used to have rambling roses.
That'd be nice.
That may be a townwide project.
Yes.
So, is anyone content to make that motion?
I would like to just, well, maybe after, but just clarify that the wood-like appearance not be vinyl. So I know we don't want to use a brand name of AZAC, but to make sure that that's clear. Also regarding the gravel, that it's not a trap rock gravel type thing, that it's a little bit more specific, that it's something that fits in with the historic district. Just to make sure that those two things are clear, for me, anyway.
Okay. So are you willing to make that motion with those clarifications?
Yes.
Okay. So we need a second. The motion I have is to approve a 10-foot fence, 4 feet high with a
Gate.
10-foot gate with a arch that may rise to 4.5 feet, but the lower ends would be 4 feet, to include wood posts, to include posts that would enable attachment of hinges, that the material be either wood or a composite material with an AZAC finish or some other finish that ends up looking like wood, and that the old pavement outside the stone wall be removed and the ground reseeded, that the gravel parking area be of gray. I don't know how to characterize the stone.
it a pea stone or is it something
Gray,
other than...
gray pea stone or something similar,
But
not
it comes in a base so that it's firm, so that it's not loose trap rock is what you're talking about.
Right.
I don't know the term for it either, but I know it's used commonly for walkways.
Okay. And that the stone wall to be built to fill in the driveway that's removed be a natural stone wall consistent with the style of the stone wall on either sides, consistent in terms of look and material.
I second.
Any discussion at this point? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm not sure if we missed early on here before you got on Line Street. Was there any decision made on that before?
Oh, yes, we did.
We may have missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
We were here at 10.
Well, no, the decision was that
Did I miss, was that addressed today or?
that was addressed.
discussed it
I'm
earlier.
sorry. The main concern was that the propane tank does not be visible from any side. And
So that you continue the fence, that it be of a sufficient height to completely cover the top of the generator, so that the fence is as high as or higher than the generator, be fenced on four sides?
The tank. Tank.
On 4 sides?
Right.
yes,
Why is it required on 4? Just so I know.
because people using the track in the high school can see the generator.
Through the hedgerow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a generator also?
The generator is there in place, correct? Behind
Do
me.
we have that?
I don't know.
That was part of.
And actually, I'm Jerry, we're the architects for the project. I had been in correspondence with Martha, because we were really,
We were here
Generators
for
on
the-
Demand had submitted the application.
But I don't believe that they came in.
They did not, that's correct. So Martha said she did come in at 10 o'clock to be here. So prior to this, we were told that it was just to be ruled on the screening. And because the generator and the propane tank had already been installed, we had been before the Historic Commission back in June for the project itself. Martha had said that I have an email here that the Historic District had no issue with the location of the propane tank or the generator, and that they were going to go by and visit the site again to see for the screening.
Was that included in the last site visit? Do you have a schematic of where the...
Yeah, so we
Where
and again,
the,
generators on demand submitted.
I just was going to suggest that you come to the table so that, because this is being recorded.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, who are
Yeah.
you?
We
Jerry
should start.
DeVoe, yep, Jerry DeVoe, DeVoe Architects, David DeVoe.
Okay, well,
So-
there was no one here, so we just were talking if there's a need to revise what we did. We
Okay.
could.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't
So we're
make
catching up a little
promises
bit
to
here.
anyone.
Basically, we came before the commission a while ago for the project itself, and there was after we were here for the renovation portion of the building and a patio space in behind.
Mm-hmm.
But during the course of the project, it was decided that a generator and propane tank were going to be added to it.
Mm-hmm.
We did submit a drawing for the tank location and the generator location.
So they're zoning compliant locations.
Those were fine. I think the issue was that I believe there was a bit of a misstep within the town's roof here. Basically, this work came in as additional work. So the generator and the propane tank were not a part of the initial application for the project. So those were actually installed, and the issue became the screening for the propane tank. The generator itself is behind the street, behind the building. It's not visible from the street. As you know, as you kind of drive in here, if you look in from the street, you can see the butt end of the tank.
Right. Yeah.
So what was proposed was, what we submitted as our part of it was to show where that screening fence was going to go, and it was decided it was going to screen the abutting properties vision of it. There's a large hedgerow all the way down. None of this is visible from the street. And then a 5-foot section of fence was going to be placed so that it wouldn't be visible from the street.
And Martha said she did receive a letter from the Edmonstons, I believe, as a, or had no issue with anything,
Right.
Yes, that's right.
That they were supporting it.
But, so, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure the owner would like screening on 4 sides of this thing. One, it's just accessibility. I guess it could be done with a gate, but I think because so much of this is screened along this side of the property.
But in the back here, it's
right, but
pretty much open.
That's from an abutting property, though. It's not visible from the street.
Right.
But it's visible.
But it's visible. I'd say for the community, for use of there's a track back there that's soccer games and people walk on. And
so if that's the case, I would like maybe ask the owner if they would consider maybe doing a shrubbery around that other than a fence.
Well,
and he may be fine with that, but I just haven't ever presented that to the owner as an option.
When they come to fill the tank.
Right.
Oh, sure, they could do it.
Yeah, we just have to do a gate. Right. But I guess part of my question is it's in the community, but it's not visible from the street as you drive by looking at it. So that's not I don't see that as being a detractor.
It's not like a highly visible.
Well, it's visible by the community.
Right, and that's
and it's
our
in
job.
the historic district. We're not restricted to say.
Okay, that's fine.
We're only dealing with things that are visible from the street.
Okay.
And Deb, I haven't done the site visit for this property, but are the tanks? From what point? Which direction are the tanks most visible?
The driveway's here.
I know the
right
street.
there,
I've looked at it from the street, but not from the rear.
The track is here.
Are you seeing that? So if the property owner fenced it on this side but not on the north side, on the east side but not north, would that be adequate? Just so we can give them more.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I know the owner's there's a significant amount of landscaping here, and I think he would probably be open to.
Yeah, he would.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure because I know that there is screening on that side, but I didn't do the site visit.
Okay.
So,
and I think that would be fine, at least to screen it on the east side. This is, it's fairly, this is not the scale, I don't think. This is just a kind of a vicinity map. Pretty far away, but.
I actually never even considered that the being visible from that location because of the hedgerow that comes all the way down there.
Right, but they just need to be considerate of, there is a track that is used all the time.
Yeah.
You're looking at jungle gyms and
they are,
all kinds of looking the other way on the fence is a little bit of an issue too, but it's a two-sided street.
Okay, so I guess we just wanted to ask where we were in this.
Is your request then that the other 2 sides that we offer the option of complete screening by?
Yeah, I'd prefer the option if we could do it with landscaping. I think the owner would be more open to that.
Well,
or at least
what is the suggestion? Just make it on the east side, but screen.
Perhaps fence on the east side, if you would consider that, if they would consider that, and then landscaping on the north side.
You could put shrubbery in front of the fence too.
Exactly.
That's a concern.
And it's their rear yard. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's going to bother them.
Okay.
Well, The question is, do we want to, Russ made the motion, are you willing, Russ, to consider a revised motion?
Yes.
Motion to refer to a 5-foot fence on the, which direction is
East.
north? On the east, west, and south sides. Cedar fence as shown in the wooden cedar wooden construction, and screening on the remaining side with shrubbery.
Yeah. Yes, I agree to that amendment, John.
Okay.
So
Carolyn, are you willing to?
Yes, I second the amended motion.
Okay.
So we'll make that modification.
That would be great. Thanks for coming in.
That's great, thank you.
We didn't understand, so that's great.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
John, should we vote on that motion?
We were told to be here
That
at 10.
amendment?
We went on without you because you weren't here and somebody else wanted to.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Russ, what was that?
Do we need to vote on the amended motion?
Yes.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're fine. I think in the minutes we'll just treat that as the motion. Okay.
8 and 10 we need, John.
So we are down to
100
Lime Street. Sorry for the long wait. I think that's
They'll come back, yeah.
No, Jim said it was somebody else's.
No, my worries. Good morning.
Good morning.
I think I got it under control now.
Good.
All right. So the two signs, I don't know if you saw the email. So those are the two pieces of paper, and then these are the images. And I know we can't get this to be, since they're working on it, their designer won't send it.
Okay.
So we should have it. But this is what it's going to look like. The font's not going to be anything. It's just going to say Eleanor P. Robinson Environmental Education Building.
Okay. We're looking, Russ and Martha, first at the small front door plaque issue. This is a 9-inch by 6-inch high sign to be on the building, to be in the Audubon building.
The former B and Thistle,
yeah. Just right of the door. So, are there any comments about that issue? Would anyone care to move to approve the door sign?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
You missed it again.
It's Monday. Everybody's a little behind the 8 ball today. Okay? We're going to give everybody a break. The world's crazy.
Okay. So the door sign is approved. I, for one, have some questions about the other sign, but shall I start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you say this is in the same location.
Yeah, so it's going to be, so this is going to be the same frame. We're just looking to extend these over to the side so we can have some kind of temporary, like summer camp registration.
Okay.
And RPP exhibit.
So the main posts will be the same as you're using the same material?
No, those are rotten.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're using the same type of material. It's going to be wood.
Okay.
But those have to go. Those are...
Okay.
But the same size.
Same size.
And the same location.
Same location. Yeah. We're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how far would the extensions go out?
24-inch brackets on each side. So the extensions would probably have to go, I'm assuming 30 inches, just a couple inches past where the brackets would be.
Okay.
Aesthetically, I think that would look better then.
Brackets on each side.
30-inch.
24-inch brackets, but the top post will go over, extend a little bit past it, because otherwise I think it looks funny, personally. It looks unbalanced.
And what's on the side?
That's an example of the brackets. They're just, they just screw into this post.
The brackets for that banner. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted you to see them.
Okay.
Because, yes.
Okay. And they're temporary. They're not, you take them, you only use the brackets when you have panels on both sides.
I don't know. I think we might just leave them up there and just order the same type of sign. But, because I think what would happen is we would end up having them either fall off or we would end up screwing in over and over again to the wood piling.
It would strip the...
Yeah. I just thought if there's a panel only on one side but not on the other, these might look funny.
Are these allowed to be up all the time, though, if it's on this?
I don't know.
I thought these had to be
temporary.
I thought so. I was trying to...
I think they do have to be temporary, but I'm...
Well, if they're announcing events...
events come and go, right? So they will be updated.
Yeah, camp registration open now, RTP original artwork on exhibit.
Let's talk about the main sign first. This would be the same, it would be same printing on both sides?
Correct.
Okay.
And wood.
And
it won't be wood, it's composite. Yeah, the wood, we ultimately want a wood one, but we can't find somebody that can do that right now. That's within Audubon price.
Okay. And it's painted, the sign is painted then on the...
It's it's the graphic, like the one that we have now. It's going to be just like, it's this, just composite.
But not a vinyl.
Not a vinyl.
Plastic.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a board. It's like a PVC almost.
And did it say somewhere an inch thick? Did you have the thickness of it?
I don't have the thickness of it. I can get that if you would like. But I don't think it's more than 1 or 2 inches. At the most, it would be too heavy.
And the material for the side?
Those
panels?
would probably be, those most likely will be a vinyl. The temporary ones, because we would have them fit to be here and then put them on and pull them down.
What material is used for the other temporary signs on Lime Street? So
some are vinyl, some are nylon, some are wood, some are metal. Some are like a material even, not like a cloth.
Right.
Yeah. So it ranges for sure.
Like those flags that you see around.
Yes, I know. I just think because there are other signs of this type in fairly close proximity to the RTP Center, that having consistency in the side panels is a good thing. So if the side panels on the adjoining Flo Grizz are made of nylon, which I don't know, but if they are, if they're not vinyl, it might be, it might be desirable to have your panels be made of the same material as the adjoining property. That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
And are you proposing changing the color to black?
No, this is supposed to be wood looking. That's the closest we could get to the wood.
So it will be a wood stain? It will be so it will look like a cedar or some kind of...
Not white?
Not white. We didn't really want... We felt white looked a little non-RTP. How about that? We wanted it to look a little more natural, a little more, more welcoming. We would like to reduce as much plastic as possible. So, and it will still have the lights on it.
Okay, right. We talked about that.
What could you describe the lighting and the control of the lighting, the time of day, and the amount of light bleed or the design of the lighting? That would be very helpful to know.
We're actually, we're going to keep the light that is there, and it's 2 bulbs, one on each side, highlighting the sign, coming down from the top bar of the sign form stand. And we have now found an electrician who is willing to go through all 7 panels to determine how we can turn on and off those lights, and ultimately they will go on to a timer, because we obviously don't want anything bright light at night. Right. 1, environmentally. 2, it's wasteful. And 3, nobody wants to see that.
Right.
So it'll be, during the day. It won't be on overnight. Good.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
You said, I believe, when you came before, that you have no control over this design or the color or anything. Is that correct?
The logo, correct. We have some branding across the Audubon Society. I would have changed the color a little bit on the blue, but it's a nice logo. I mean, yeah.
Well, I think we have some members not here. Russ is here by phone, but hasn't seen I'm not sure that he's digested it. Deanie, I know, hasn't. But I think, especially since we had some questions about you checking on, for consistency purposes, on the material for side panels, if you could get us that information before the next meeting, and then we could act on it then.
Sure. I mean, I know that the majority of ours will be probably some metal and some vinyl is what we'll do, but I can look and see what other people do. I know there's a whole range of them, but I can do that. We would like, if we have to wait on this, which I'm fine with, can I get a temporary solid one instead of the vinyl in the middle panel to hang up going forward?
I did approve the middle portion now.
Is that possible, to approve the middle sign to go up on a hard one? Get rid of the vinyl messy one and get
the composite, you said.
Thank you. Yes, that's fine. We're hosting Eleanor's celebration of life April 23rd. So I would like to have as much
It'd be nice to have
in order. And I'm not trying to rush anybody here. I just would like, that's why the plaque was important too.
Russ, you're one of the.
I would support that. If folks are in agreement that the solid portion and the structure and the lighting is in agreement, and I've seen only the images that Martha sent, which I didn't have any major concerns. I would support approving the solid sign with a tentative approval, or the temporary sign being subject to review, if folks wanted to do that.
You might also, on the temporary sign, investigate whether there's some kind of, maybe there's like a metal tube, and you could somehow, that clicks in, that could be removed. I tend to agree with Carolyn that it looks a little unsightly, stakes coming out.
Hanging out when there's not a sign.
When you only need one sign.
For example, I don't know what the Flowris does, but it does have space for 2 temporary panels. I think they might be nylon, and I don't think there are any struts or fixtures sticking out. So if you could just check with them, then perhaps I still think consistency on the street is something we want to strive for when we can achieve it.
I can definitely look into it.
I'm not a fan of vinyl, so if there's an alternative to that would be satisfactory to you and consistent with other signs on the street, I think that would be nice.
Definitely
if you could look into that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let me suggest that let me try to phrase a motion. If somebody's willing to work with that, they could make a motion to approve the natural wooden posts to be placed in the same, to be of the same size as the current ones and be placed in the same location with 30-inch overhangs on each side, and approve a composite sign to be printed on both sides conforming to the illustration that's been presented, and with lighting, with the existing lighting. Now, and just to clarify for me, I mean, this doesn't seem to show the lighting. I assume it would be on the post.
Yep, it's right here. And it's not on here, but this is where it would be. This is where it is right now, and this is where it would be.
Okay, so just one on each side.
Yep. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, one light on each side conforming to the existing lighting.
And regulated by a timer that turns it off at night, so
Yes.
it's only...
When our electrician figures out how to turn it on or off. But yes.
Okay, so moved. Do you want the motion?
Yeah. Russ, you want a second?
Oh, I get to second now. Yes, I will second.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks very much.
And then if you can just collect that other information,
Absolutely.
We'll deal with that next meeting.
You got it. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. All right. What a long meeting.
So now number 10, the 21 Lime Street.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I have to step out to another meeting.
Yes.
If that's okay. I need to run. I got 11:30. So.
Does our quorum disappear, Martha?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Can you? We have to act on the budget today. Can Russ leave a proxy?
I think so.
Yeah. So I would support approval, John, if the other members are approve the budget. Yeah. I don't know how that works, but
We'll accept, if you're willing, a vote to approve the budget with the amendments to be discussed.
yes. Okay.
All right. Let's
Thank you.
have Russ make that motion. Somebody second it, just so that's on the table, so we can approve it while there's a quorum. I mean,
Do you want to make the motion, Russ?
Yeah, I can. I make the motion that John just described. Yes.
To approve the budget with amendments
To be discussed.
Yeah. The approval of members present. Okay.
Okay, I second.
In favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank everybody.
Bye, Russ. Thank you.
So the last issue is number 10, unapproved sheds. This is an issue that...
Which one's 21?
I think it's Paul Papasanos, isn't it?
Yeah. And... wait, talk to this. Okay, goes in order. And this is an issue that came to the zoning board, which has sent them a note saying you have to file a zoning application. My suggestion would be if Martha write them a letter saying you have to file a Historic District Commission C of A application.
Okay, I'll do that.
This is for an attached shed, and I can't even tell you what else is there, and other structures, and any other structures that should cover it.
And any other unapproved structures?
Yeah, any other unapproved structures.
Okay, great.
So we're not officially taking action. Nobody's here, but they will be on notice from us as well as zoning. GIS and Historic District, I had an email early this morning with abject apologies from the attorney for not getting this done. He is targeting this week to finish his opinion. And then we come to the budget, and I printed out copies.
Oh,
thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, the main issue that leads to a significant hike is that Martha is proposing separating the standard clerk functions, which include attending the meetings, preparing minutes, preparing the agenda, preparing a record of votes, preparing legal notices, filing them, advertising legal notices, preparing neighbor notices, and mailing and checking the mailbox. Deanie or I certainly can check the mailbox because Martha is out of town, and if there's a new clerk, they didn't do that. But separating that from the administrative tasks, weekly correspondence, all these little notes that I say verbally, Martha, could you please write a letter? Meeting follow-up, administer the Plaque program, conduct property research, prepare the annual CLG report, take care of updates to the Historic District Handbook, and then it ran out of space on my screen, and there may be other functions under administrative, Martha, I don't know. So my only concern is that we are facing a huge increase over last year's budget. I wonder if we can get that.
I'll get it, John. I'll get it.
Martha, I guess do you see any room for cutting corners here?
Well, what you could do is just cut back the hours, and then I can do whatever I can do in those hours.
Right.
I completely understand that it's a big difference from what we had before in previous years. And I think Deanie had some good suggestions about how to cut it back. And right. So
Angie and I had talked.
Yes.
And I know she met with you too.
Yep. I can certainly work with whatever you decide. I'm sure we can make it work. So.
Do you know what the horrible pay is now per hour for the clerk?
For the clerks, it's $18 an hour.
Right.
Which is fairly comparable to other towns. Some towns pay a little bit more than that, but it's in the ballpark, I would say.
Right. And the admin would be presumably the same hours or not? The same rate?
The admin is the same. It's the same rate, the same hourly rate. what I was able to estimate when I was talking it over with Deanie, I estimated that the number of clerk hours per month to prepare for the meeting and do all of that is about 9 hours. And then the admin, I probably spend another 15 hours doing all the other follow-up and correspondence and things like that. So you can decide to cut back however you wish.
One of the did you have the $75 per meeting in both clerk and admin?
No.
Which does that come under, the clerk?
That really would come under the clerk.
Okay. Do you have...
That's a standard thing for the clerk, so I would keep that under there.
So, Martha, the only concern is we don't want to get this rejected, so we want to make sure that the budget, perhaps accompanied by a letter from John or from John and Deanie together, will be accepted. So we want to make sure that we are careful in submitting the requested amount, just so they don't turn it back, because we want to pay you for all that you do. But we
also realize that the agenda is longer. Our meetings are no longer 1 hour.
No, I know. I hope today is not typical.
But even so, since there's not been a 1 hour meeting for quite a while.
So there is a lot of work, and we anticipate a lot more things coming down the road, and it's a lot of work, and Martha, you're great to do all this. So I don't have a problem with putting this forward, and John and Deanie, like you said, doing a letter to say that there's a lot going on in the district.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. And I mean, just procedurally, if the Finance Committee said, no, we won't pay this, do we have a chance to resubmit? I mean, how would that work? I'm only concerned that if they were to reject...
Is it $800? Is that the difference? Am I interpreting it correctly,
John?
Yeah. From what?
The increase?
No, from the budgeted amount. We had a huge overage over the 2021 budget. 21-22 budget was $5,500. It goes up by $4,500.
I think it's within acceptance to submit it.
I do too, and especially if it's commensurate with what other towns pay. The fact that the HDC is doing more work now than it has done in the past means that we have to pay for that. We have to pay the administrative services to support that work. And that's the argument that I think we could provide.
My only other question was legal counsel. There's remaining funds to pay for this year. We had the huge range of issues over signs. That was last year. The GIS and map description reconciliation is this year. I don't know what there will be in the future. I can't think of anything. It's probably wise to keep in $500 in case there's some clarification question that comes up. But that was the only other place I could really see as remotely worth arguing over savings. There's something to my mind, this is probably overly picky, tell me, John, you're being overly picky. If we could just get that first figure to look like 8 rather than 9, could we cut out $50 somewhere? Then we could say, oh, well, look, we spent $8,200 a couple years ago.
So what about cutting the clerk hours from 9 to 8? And Martha would do what she could within that time. I think the admin hours seem we don't want to cut there, I don't think, but whether the filings could be done more rapidly, or whether Deanie could take over one little small piece of that.
Or just, even a rougher version, Martha, of agenda and minutes, and we can proof them and...
Sure, yep.
Just to get it to an 8, okay.
Yeah, to get to an 8. Martha, what would you suggest to get to an 8? What would be best for you?
I would say to cut back, definitely cut back the clerk hours to, you could probably knock 2 hours off the clerk.
Yeah.
And maybe if you knocked off 2 hours from the clerk and 2 hours from the admin, then that's 4 hours. What's that? 4 times 18.
I'm reluctant to knock off anything off from the admin. If in fact if you need 15 hours a month, that type of work, the letters, the Plaque program, the property research, the annual reports, nothing that I think any of us could easily and efficiently do.
So
is it possible to cut the clerk hours to 6, and if it takes a little more than that, borrow an hour from admin?
Yeah, we could do that.
How about 6 hours for clerk?
Let's ask Martha. What would that look like for you, Martha? How much can you do in 6 hours, realistically?
It depends on how much is happening every month. That's why it's hard to predict. Like this month was crazy. But I do have templates for legal notices and neighbor notices and things like that, and so I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe I could work faster. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I'm sure we could make it work.
All right. I think the consensus emerging from head nods here is to cut down to 7 hours on clerking.
Okay.
And keep admin the same. And informally giving you the opportunity to make swaps if you think they have to be made.
Okay.
Just so, because we don't want you in any way to be underpaid. We want to be sure you're compensated for all your hours. Like this morning, you're spending 3 hours on a meeting instead of 1 hour.
Right.
That makes a difference in your time, and we need to pay for that. And
sure.
The other thing is to submit it with 9 and then come down if the town forces us to.
Right.
You just explain that we've had a 3-hour meeting today instead of a 1-hour meeting.
Exactly.
I guess I would rather do 7, and if you get one shot to go to the Board of Finance. I mean, if these super long meetings, and goodness sakes, we had 14 points on the agenda.
Right.
If these continue, then you can go back to the board and ask for more money and just say, here's the reality. But I don't know how the town operates, but personally, if I were on the Board of Finance and I saw somebody going from 5,500 budget to adding, to 9,000, that would make me gulp.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it then. If that's okay with Martha, then I think we can just approve it, and with Russ's proxy, we can vote.
Right.
So if you could, Martha, do another of your admin tasks, I guess, change that line and the total, and then I'll forward it with who does it go to? The Board of Finance or to Tim?
I would send it to Tim, and Michelle Hayes is the secretary she's the one who does the minutes. but also I would send it to Tim and also to Nicole Ledger of the Finance Department.
Okay. So if you could send that to Deanie and me, and one of us will send in a cover note
explaining the
increase.
So you might want to cut back 3 hours to get it underneath the 9,000 mark.
Can you live with that, Martha?
Well,
yes. Yeah.
9,000 doesn't.
9,047.
Okay.
So it's got to be a good multiple of 18. So.
I gotcha. Okay. We'll cut it to 6 then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the motion that we passed with Russ present, so we had a quorum, encompasses the reduction in clerk hours from 9 to 6.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a motion to, old or new business? I propose we save all those issues for next week. We have next month. Wait a second. The One Lime Street application was filed on February 6th, so we still have time if we take action on at next month's meeting. Is the ball in their court, Martha?
Is that the 84 Lime Street chimney like for like?
McCurdy House.
The McCurdy House.
Oh, the McCurdy House. Yeah, that we can do that next month because he hasn't really. I think we have a C of A from him, but there's no supporting materials. So,
if you could say, I mean, again, we're going to be facing the same issue we faced with Dr. Jones.
Right.
We have to act by next month on this application.
Right.
And if we don't, it's approved. So
yeah, I'll ask him to reapply.
Yeah, we need. Well, either ask him to reapply, or I'm not even sure we have time. But we need much more detailed information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he's willing to reapply, fine. If he's not, then I guess we turn it down and invite him to reapply.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
So, okay.
Martha, just a small thing. I'm sorry that I don't have any longer. I no longer remember where the list of the HCC dates for the coming year are. I see you've given us April 4th. Does everybody else have them? I want to just mark my calendar going forward to next.
I can give them to you.
Okay, John can give them to me.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're done. Martha, have a good trip. I got your other email and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Have a good trip.
I hope the health improves and your grandson. And
Thank you.
With grandkids of my own, I know the traumas. Our grandson just split his head open and had stitches. It's just stuff that happens in 2 seconds.
You never know what's around the corner.
That's right. Okay. Thank you for today, Martha. This was long and drawn out. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you all.
Okay. See you in April.
Yep.